What's happening, everyone? This is my inaugural YouTube video. Thanks for checking it out. I feel calling to kind of start doing a YouTube channel and sharing some of my life and things I'm going through. And also, honestly, I want to document this a lot for myself. I've been going through a lot of changes, and so I'm kind of excited to just kind of document it and put it out. And anyone who's listening to this or watching it, I appreciate it. If it's something that you think might help people, feel free to share it. I just wanted to talk a little bit about what the hell's going on with me, which is, kind of the raddest shit ever. I spent 39 years of my life basically not thinking I was worthy, not thinking I deserved happiness, not thinking I could accomplish big things. But that shit stopped 6 weeks ago. And my hope is that I can kind of share some information with you or start a dialogue with people who aren't on the same tip as me, or, whatever it is to try to help, because it's just been so life-changing for me. It's like 6 weeks ago, I hit a really kind of dark spot for me. And I've hit a few dark ones, right? I'm in recovery. I've had drug and alcohol issues. I have tried to end my life. I've had some very dark things happen to me. And what's weird about this one that happened though is I wasn't everything was rad. I've just quit my job a little while ago, I had a really nice, great job, career. And I went back to school because I wanted to serve and I wanted to help. And, I have a beautiful wife. I live in San Diego. I have 2 beautiful boys. I mean, on paper, shit was pretty good, but there was something going on, inside of me, internally. It was to me, it might not seem like this to you, but it was like my soul calling me. My soul was telling me I'm not happy. And I was getting caught up in social media and Twitter and negative. I'm not going to get into politics, but I was in a really depressed, sometimes angry state about what was going on in the world, in America, and I felt helpless. I was going through a lot of these phases where I was addicted to reading negative stuff because I just wanted to. It felt like it was I needed to, but really I was just torturing myself. And so I was going through back and forth, and I had Twitter on my app, and however you use social media, if you're using it right, social media can be rad. I'm on Instagram. I love Instagram. I follow a bunch of people who have changed my life, literally. But I was using Twitter wrong. I was going down rabbit holes of negative politics and negative, just such a negative vibration. And I would delete the app off my phone, and I would try to detox from it. But 6 hours later, I would put it back on my phone. I'd read the stuff, or I would go on the web browser and then go on Twitter on that instead of the app. So I was still trying to go on there, and I was just feeling lost. I just felt there was so much negativity in the world, and it was encompassing me. I really let it get to me a lot. Some nights I would go to sleep crying at night because I was so frustrated and angry about what was happening. And then I just started realizing all of a sudden that this was not healthy. I was getting too swept up in things that were out of my control, things that I couldn't handle. And my soul was telling me, you're not happy. You need to do something for yourself that's going to make you happy. And I started looking into things, and I started trying to change my mindset. And I started hearing people talk about self-love and self-acceptance. Radical things for me that I had never done in my life. I talked shit about myself for 39 years. I thought I sucked. Everything I had accomplished in my life was in spite of myself. I thought I was an imposter in everything I did. I was one email away from being figured out. The world was falling down if I ever got in trouble, at work or whatever. And, I never talked nicely about myself. I was always the person in my head who was telling me that this is what you deserve. Well, you suck this time too. It was never. And so when they started talking about that, talking about self-love and self-acceptance, it was for the first time in my life. I mean, I'd heard of it before, obviously. It wasn't something that was a new concepts, but it was the first time that I was open to the idea of talking nicely to myself. I was so depressed and angry about what was going on with the world. I started thinking, well, what would happen if I started talking nicely to myself? And so I started talking nicely to myself, and I actually kind of meant it. Like, I would say something like, "You're a pretty funny dude. You're actually pretty funny. You make people laugh." Like, I could never have said that stuff 6 weeks ago. Like, I don't know, you're pretty athletic. Like, you're an athletic dude. Good for me. Like, instead of just like taking it away, I allowed that stuff to flourish. Like, I started thinking about how, I have some pretty good attributes. Like, I'm caring, I'm loving, I am there for people if they need me. And I started focusing on those things. And fuck, I can't even tell you, dude, like, my life completely changed. Then I started thinking about and hearing people talk about limiting beliefs. And limiting beliefs, I always believed in something called the Peter Principle. Like, you plateau at something, and that's as high as you can go. And you don't want to go higher than that because you'll fail. And those types of things always stuck with me. And even when I kept moving up the ladder, especially at my last job, and thinking the position before was my Peter Principle, and then I'd always feel like I was getting figured out. But then I started thinking about limiting beliefs and started thinking about, like, am I the only one who's actually holding myself back from accomplishing what I want to accomplish? And once I had that thought, it was wild, because I realized I was, dude. Like, I realized that I was the one who was holding me back from accomplishing anything I wanted to accomplish in my life. And once that limiting belief and understanding and looking at it from the outside and understanding that I was the one who was causing all my problems, it got pretty crazy for me. My world opened up. Then I started thinking about people talking about what's your calling? What's the dream that you've had that you've never shared with anybody? What's the thing that you always keep down because you don't feel worthy, or you don't feel deserving, or you don't feel like you were given that, so you couldn't accomplish it? Oh, that person who does it, they were born that way. What if I started thinking about things a little bit differently, and I started thinking about, like, fuck, maybe this is just social conditioning. Maybe these are insecurities that I put on myself to make myself feel comfortable, or to, I don't even really fucking know, but I put them on myself. And once I was able to, like, here's my thought, right? Here's my limiting beliefs. And then all of a sudden I was able to look at them from the outside and be like, wait, I did those to myself. Like, that's when my brain really went, and I started realizing that I could do anything I wanted to. Like, don't get me wrong, I couldn't go, like, do the 100-yard dash at the Olympics. I'm talking about things that if I felt passionate about, that made me excited, I could do them. And so I started thinking about things. I started cultivating those things that were inside of my heart and inside of me that I felt I always wanted to do, but I never allowed myself to think about it. And so I let those flourish, and I started letting those become something that I thought I could do. And some crazy shit started happening. I won't get too much in the spiritual aspect of it, because I'm going to share that for, it's kind of like a topic on its own, because I kind of just want to ask you a few questions in this video to try to get maybe you to think the way and get you to a point where it got to me, which changed my life. But I started seeing some pretty crazy coincidences, things I'd never seen before, things that I was not open to 6 weeks ago. They just started happening, and I couldn't deny them. And it got me excited, and it made me feel like I was on the right path. I was getting answers to things that I didn't expect to get answers from. I was getting guidance in areas. I was getting synchronicities, things that were happening to me that I had never seen before, and they were reinforcing that I was on the right path. And it's changed my life, dude. Like, now it's like I wake up and I'm happy. Like, I have shitty days. Don't get me wrong. This just started for me like 7 weeks ago. So, I'm just documenting what's going on with me in the beginning and hoping I can help a few people too. Like, I had a terrible day a couple days ago. Like, I was angry. I was not happy. I just was not in a good place, and I couldn't figure out why. But the thing about it, instead of getting angry at myself about feeling that way, I was nice to myself. I let myself know this is a tough day. You're new to this. That's from the Holistic Psychologist, by the way. If you don't follow her on Instagram, you should be. I'm new to this. Give yourself some credit. You're going to have some hard days. And I walked myself through it. And I did some things too. I started praying, started meditating, started doing gratitude lists, started doing all these things that, if anybody knows me, I wasn't doing 6 weeks ago. I was like a fucking atheist 6 to 8 weeks ago. Okay. So if you're feeling like an atheist, I was there with you. I just started doing things that were for me. And I realized that once I started talking positive to myself and I started doing things that made my soul feel nourished and happy, it extended to all other parts of my life. I'm a better husband now. I love my kids now. I'm more patient now. When I get frustrated, when I get angry, I have tools that can at least help me to get out of that. Breathing exercises, exercise itself, meditation, writing a gratitude list. I do that every morning now, and it's changed my life. It's changed my life. And, the one thing, if anybody talks about hearing this, thinks about a gratitude list and wonders how a gratitude list can help you, like the one thing that really clicked for me when this was all going on, I've been doing gratitude lists for a little over a month, and I'm not going to stop doing it. Like I'll do it every morning, every night. I don't know. I'll at least do it once a day for sure. You have to practice gratitude. Practice gratitude. It does not come to you naturally. At least it didn't for me. Like I can have moments of gratitude, but if I was writing a list down, like of gratitude, I don't know. I was just writing a fucking list. Like I couldn't get in it. Couldn't feel it. So I was just like, why am I doing this? And so what I started doing was giving myself a break and giving myself some time for it to start working and start training my mind to notice things, to be grateful for the smaller things instead of wanting other things and being happy with what I have. And so I kept working on the list, and I would start being able to put myself into the gratitude of what I was writing down. So like, let's say if I went to the park with my boys, I would say, I'm so grateful for the park with my boys. And I would think about that. I would think about the moments that I felt with my boys that made me feel gracious and made me feel gratitude, I should say. Love and laughter. And I was outside and all of these things started clicking. And the other night I had like a really kind of big moment where I realized the gratitude list was working for me. I just eat all the time, like everybody. And I was having dinner with my family and I was eating a steak. And I ate the steak and I was taking the bite of the steak and it tasted so good. In my mind, instead of just thinking, oh, it's really good, let's have the next bite, my mind went to, I'm so grateful for how delicious this bite of steak tastes. And it changed. It was just rad to have that moment where like I could feel my mind was being trained to talk about or to understand, to be grateful for what you have. Instead of noshing on that and going right to dessert, I had a real moment where I was really grateful that I was able to have such a delicious bite. And I'm sorry if you're a vegetarian or vegan, but sorry. So anyways, that was a really big moment for me. It was really delicious. And I realized that my gratitude practice was working, and it's working a lot in my life, like a lot. So I recommend you start looking into that. But anyways, I wanted to share some questions, some things with you to maybe kind of expand your mind a little bit or to get you thinking outside the box. Now, a lot of you, if you're listening to this, may know me and you're watching it because you know me, and you may just be like, whatever, Cody's on some weird shit now. By the way, my wife, like when this first started happening, like the first 10 days, my wife like literally thought I was back on drugs because I was so high on life. Like she was like, would you pee in a cup? I was like, get me 10 cups, I'll pee in all of them. But it was just funny because I was so excited and I never felt such joy because my whole world had opened up. Like it was next level, and that's what I want for everyone. And if you're watching, but anyways, I want to pose some ideas to you. And maybe they'll stick with you, maybe they won't, but just give them a listen and try to check your shit outside. Try to be an open mind, and either the seed will plant now and you'll nourish it and you'll be able to grow from it, or, at least I planted a seed and you can think about it later when, you're ready to accept it and hear it. But what if limiting beliefs were holding you back? What if those limiting beliefs were a reality that you set up in your head about yourself that wasn't true? What if you had a higher purpose? What if there was something innate in you and your story and what you have that nobody else had that you could share? What if? What if all this bullshit that you've been going through has been because you haven't allowed yourself to dream and felt worthy enough to do it? What if those little nudges and those little things that give you goosebumps when you think about, but then you tap them down because you don't feel like they're for you, or you could do it, or those are meant for somebody else, that's too big of a dream. What if you allowed yourself to actually flourish inside of that for a moment and think about all of the limiting beliefs that you have were made inside of you? Either you were born with them for some reason, or you have society put them on you, or you had a caregiver growing up, or you latched onto it and it became a belief of yours that isn't true. It's not true. It's limiting you in your potential. What if you were able to get outside of that and see it from the outside and understand that that's what's holding you back? For me, when that happened, I don't know. Everything changed. What if you actually started talking nicely to yourself? What if you got over the bullshit and realized that you're the most important person? For your happiness and to make other people happy around you, you need to be happy. What if you accepted your past? What if you forgave yourself for your past and you just allowed yourself to move on? What if you believed in yourself? What if when you make a mistake, you were kind to yourself when you did it? Gave yourself it's all good. What if, I saw this really good quote, just basically talk to yourself like you would talk to somebody you love. If you make a mistake, give yourself a break. What if you started doing that? What if, this is going to be a big one. What if you had a higher purpose? What if you allowed yourself for a moment to step out of it and look at all of your gifts internally, whether it's you're smart or, you're compassionate or you have empathy or you're kind. And what if all of the things you went through were building you up to get you prepared for that? What if you had that higher purpose? What if there's something that's special for you that you're denying? I just think that once you start thinking about things outside of what has been socially conditioned in your brain, your world opens up for you. What if you meditated? What if you did something, committed yourself to not meditating? What if it's for praying? What if you committed yourself to exercising? What if you start doing self-care routines for yourself that nourished you? Instead of worrying so much about what other people have or how you can help other people, what if you started setting some boundaries and doing some things for you? What if you took the time to heal? What if you took the time to work on yourself to make yourself happy? Whatever trauma you've been in, my traumas are, for me, it was addiction and suicide attempts and, all of those types of things. And a lot of people have really heavy stuff, and it's not going to be easy to do it. It's going to be hard. But what if on the other side, you came out happier than you've ever known? I just want you to kind of think about these things. What if there's something amazing out there for you if you just allowed yourself to do it? I've had some friends who have talked to me, I do a lot of posting on Instagram and stories about things that have motivated me, and I want to share it with people because I don't want to keep this to myself. Like, this is how everyone should be living, dude. You should not be living an unhappy life, and you can live a happy life. An amazing, beyond your wildest dreams happy, like goosebumps when you wake up in the morning happy. Of course, it's not always going to be that way. Life happens and you have all these emotions, but in a general sense, you change your outlook and it changes your life, And I had some friends reach out to me telling me, well, that's not for me. Like, I have this job, I have kids, and I get that, dude. I understand. Like, I'm not trying to minimize your circumstances or what's going on, but what I'm talking about is just trying to look past what's happening and think if there's something greater for you. And if you could limit what's going on and use your time more wisely. Like, what if you could, instead of watching Netflix for 3 hours or, whatever you're doing or scrolling through your phone, what if you sat down and started journaling? What if instead of that, you started reading a book? What if that you started talking positively about yourself? What if that instead of that, you started, exercising or do whatever it is that's going to make you happy or make you do something for yourself? What if you started doing that instead of being like, I'm stuck, start furthering yourself and see where it takes you? When I first started in recovery, before I got in recovery, I was trying to go in and out of the rooms a lot. And I would always tell my sponsor, so I go to one of the anonymous programs. They have sponsors for the few of you who wouldn't know what that is. I would always tell him he'd say, go to me. I'd say I didn't have enough time. And I would always say that. And it's because I didn't want it. So I didn't have enough time because I didn't want to get sober. I didn't want to get clean yet. But you know what happened once I wanted to get clean? There was plenty of fucking time to go to a meeting. There was so much time. I was going to multiple meetings in a day because I made time for something I became super passionate about. So it's like, now it's like, why don't you try to do little things that are further yourself. Like, I promise you that if you do that, like, you will find happiness and you will grow on that happiness. And if you keep working on yourself, you will achieve a happiness that you've never known before. Now, some of you are already doing it, and that's rad. Like, keep doing it. Like, you love your 9 to 5. It helps you. You thrive in it. Like, it makes you happy. It helps you support your kids. It makes your kids go to great schools. Like, whatever that is, that's awesome. Now, I'm not talking about like quitting your job, but what I'm talking about is finding purpose in your life and doing something that's going to make you feel fulfilled. You know, what if you realized that there were 7.7 billion people in this world and every one of them can be inspired? What if your story could inspire people? You know, it's like there's this guy named Prince EA who's on Instagram. I'm sure a lot of you heard him. He's legit. He's amazing. And he talks about, in one of his videos, he talks about like how you're not only robbing yourself of your purpose, which was something that you'll on your deathbed be so sad about, but you're also robbing the world of it. Like, it's the least selfish thing you can do to focus on yourself, grow yourself, and then share it with people and try to make them better, be of service to humanity. You know, have you ever, what if you did that? Not only did you become happy, but you were able to help people. To me, that's the ultimate. Like, what's better than being internally happy and then being able to give back to people and making them happy, share your message? I mean, that's, to me, like, I get high off that shit. Like, I've always been a person who wanted to give back. And that's what I'm going for now. Like, I'm going to go for this crazy. Like, this is going to be what I'm going to do. YouTube, doing videos, weekly YouTube videos is going to be a part of it. But, you know, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit of start thinking about, like, what if? Instead of getting stuck in the life that you're in, what if you could change it? What if you could do something about it? And, you know, a lot of us are going through a really difficult time. The world is going through a difficult time. And there's a lot of time for us to kind of reevaluate what's going on with our lives and think about what we want to do. And, you know, whether it's now or if you see this video in a year from now, you know, I just want you to start thinking outside the box a little bit. Give yourself some love. Give yourself some acceptance. Like, give yourself some you time, and think about what gives you goosebumps when you think about it. What's that dream you've had that you've never let flourish? And what if you started to let it flourish? What if you realize those limiting beliefs that you've had are just something it's in your brain? They're not real. You know, I don't really have that much more. I just, you know, if anybody got something out of this video, maybe you could share it with somebody. Leave a comment. I hope everybody's doing all right. There's a lot of love in my heart for everyone. And I hope that these videos that I start putting out weekly will be something that help you and benefit you. And if it helps one person, that's rad. If it doesn't help anybody, it's definitely helping me, because I'm going to document what's going on with me. And much love to you and yours and to the world. Later, guys.